The reason why I'm doing this is for a couple reasons, and then we'll get right on to this. I know we had some valuable time there that clicked by. Um, I try to do my best work here in the office, and basically, to be real frank, it frustrates me when people leave here and they don't know what to do at home to keep themselves healthy and well. Um, I can do what I can here, and I do as much as I can here. But if a person isn't taking care of themselves at home in a natural, holistic way, then I'm not able to. Then my results here are not as strong as I'd like them to be. And it's not your fault, really. It's just that we're just not educated. It's not part of the scene here in this country. The scene here is medicine, a drug for this and a drug for that. Pharmaceutical companies make a lot of money off of us, and we basically don't have health care. We have sick care, and there's not a lot of emphasis on us staying well. And we know that if we look around us. So that's why I felt it was important to show you some holistic aspects. It'll hopefully make a difference in your life. A lot of information here for you tonight. We're going to go through it as quick as we can. Um, you know, part of the issue also is that we live in an unhealthy world, and you got to do something. If you don't do something to stay healthy, you get sick. You can't. You just plain relay with your health. You can't. You just can't rely on things like we used to. So that's why I put this together. So settle in, get yourself a beverage and a snack. We'll be here probably for maybe a little bit over an hour. I'm going to try to whiz through this as quickly as I can, I promise. But I want to make it as impactful for you. I just don't want you to I want this to make a difference for you. I've been working on this for a while. And so I'm hoping that you'll find this advantageous. And part of again the reason we do this is God, 80% of the population is going to have some type of chronic disease. Some 80% of the population is going to be in pain. And so what does that mean? That means if you take 8 out of 10 people and you put them in, as they get older, 8 out of 10 people are not going to feel as good as they used to be. And what I like to say, and I may have said to you as my patient, that it's not that, not everyone here, is doing somersaults and totally pain-free. And not everyone here, and there are people here that take pharmaceutical drugs. But what I am saying is that when you include this work, with the allopathic, you're a healthier person. So I want to say hello again, just hello to my patients. Thank you again for tuning in, all of you, and for coming online. And the guests too, thank you. If you don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Mark Terebelo. I'm a chiropractic physician, applied kinesiologist, holistic physician. Done this for 44 years, really. And this is really my passion. I really enjoy helping people, and I continue to learn to help as many people as I can. All right, so settle in, and we'll continue on. Part the method that I use here, which sets me unique, is the method of applied kinesiology. So I'm a chiropractor, like I said, but there's many different chiropractic methods, and this chiropractic method allows me to use soft tissue work. Allows me to be more of a holistic doctor. The spine's important. That's your nervous system. The nervous system powers your body. No one disputes that. But you can have pain in your body from a pulled muscle. You can have pain in your lower back from a magnesium deficiency. You can't get your head, your neck pain out of your system if your jaw's not right. If your feet are imbalanced, you can't build an improper foundation. You got to look at the whole body. And that's where this work shines because it allows me to be holistic physician. And I was taught by Dr. Goodhart, who founded this work here in Detroit in 1964, and I took courses with him. This is the so as the triad of health that we look at. When a person comes in with a health issue, um, I look at a person as what's going on here. Here is a human being who should have self-healing or abilities, meaning that Creator made us to be healthy, well, and vibrant. What's going on here? Why is there this dis-ease? Why is it there's this imbalance in the system that's causing this symptom? And I look at these three aspects. Everyone's equilateral. It's an equilateral triangle when we first come in. For some people, it's a pure lower back pain. And they eat good and they get good mental attitude. Okay, so maybe that base more structure. For some people, man, their digestive system isn't there. They got inflammation all over their body. Maybe chemical is the main one. So it changes within each individual. And my job as a physician is to diagnose what's needed, supply what's needed, and then the body says, "Thank you very much. I needed that." And then the person gets well, like the body should. And again, the little what we call planetary things around there. For those of you who are just in for tonight's webinar, those are the tools that I use to supply the structure, chemical, and mental. So the N is the nervous system. NL is the lymphatic points. That's the points I rub on a person's body to get the lymph system moving. NV is neurovascular. Those are points that I hold on the head to promote more vascular flow into an organ or gland. CSF is cerebral spinal fluid. That's the motion of the skull. The skull is motion that pumps cerebral spinal fluid through the brain and down. So that's that work, and EMC is acupuncture work. We don't puncture the skin, but we can tap points and stimulate points, or else I'll refer to a proper acupuncturist. So tonight, what we're going to do is that we're going to get some of the high points that we had from last week. I feel I missed some of the points because, well, we had some technical difficulties. So and I felt bad about that. And I just want to take a moment to really to drive home some of the things about digestion and eating, simply because it's so very important. And if I miss that boat, then I'm really doing you a disservice here. So, the purpose of eating, is to nourish the body. We have to give the body the resources it needs to function on a healthy and disease-free pain level. If the body doesn't get the chemistry it needs for you, then the body as a self-healing organism is compromised. The body can't do its thing. So it's really up to the individual to understand that and to take care of their tempo, of their body. And if it goes south, in other words, they get symptoms, they sort of own it, in a certain sort of way. But again, it's not blame. They just don't know. So I get asked the question a lot, well, what should I eat? And what I like is I like balance. And you have to remember, that 75% of your diet should be fruits and vegetables. That means 3 out of 4 things on your plate or in your mouth should be a piece of fruit or a carrot or something like that. You know very well that's not happening for most people. You know very well how healthy people are. So you sort of see what's going on. So the balance is that. So what I want to say with balance is that if you're eating a lot of protein, then don't eat so much protein. Then the next one maybe have a little bit more carbs. But if you're carbing out, that's not good either. So that's going to raise your blood sugar. Then you want to get back to a little bit of protein. So you want to be mindful. What'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have for lunch? What'd you have for dinner? Oh, if you had carbs for each one, that's not really good. And if you had meat for each one, not necessarily good either. But really, everybody has to try it on for size. What I like, if I have a busy day, I'm going to start the day with some protein. That's like diesel fuel. The carbs, like if I just have like some hot cereal or something, a little bit of a flash in the pan. But you want to make sure that, because it's carbs, that it has some fiber in it. Because the fiber, what it does is it sort of modulates the glycemic index. So whenever you have something with carbs, you want to check to see, does it how much fiber does it have in it? So when you're choosing fruit, let's say, so fruit like bananas, let's say, yeah, bananas can be helpful, but um, but it doesn't have any really a lot of fiber in it. So it's a little bit of a flash in the pan in the glycemic index. Pineapple as well. It's got good enzymes in it, things like that. That's good, but no fiber in it. Watermelon, no fiber at all. It's all fructose. So when you have vegetables, you want to see where it is, with the glycemic index. You can go online and look at that. What foods are you want to have foods that are low in glycemic index and high in fiber, is the best way to modulate things you know. And when you got a snack, you want to snack on protein, like seeds and nuts. That's how you should do it. Protein and fiber at every meal makes weight loss no big deal. Something for you to remember as well if you're looking to modulate your weight. And also, the best diet food is real food, not food in the box. So when we work with people, you know, I always start with the digestive system. And because most health issues start with the gut. Actually, let me correct this. Most health issues start with poor food choices, which causes injury to the digestive system. The digestive system is the interface where the food that you choose to nourish your body gets absorbed. And if you garbage in, garbage out. If you don't eat healthy food, you're going to be tired all day. And you're going to want to drink coffee all day or have something sweet all day. So it's like putting poor octane fuel in your car. So you want to have, good food to nourish your body. You are what you eat, but you're also what you absorb. And that's an issue because most Americans have sort of clunky digestive systems. When I ask my patients, I always ask my patients, "How's your digestive system?" Because as you'll see in a moment, it's so important. You know, it's news to them that you should have a bowel movement every day, and it's news to them if I say, "Are you constipated?" They're like, really? If you eat food, it's got to come out. If it doesn't come out, then it taxes your liver and it taxes your gallbladder. So that's something that you have to be responsible for as well. So, in other words, like foods you're choosing, are you eating enough fiber? If you're eating too much like processed foods, like say white bread or something like that with no fiber, then you might have issues with your digestive system. Also, it starts there and you can modulate it. So if you're constipated, like have more fiber. So have some prunes in the morning or black mission figs or something like that that has a lot of fiber in there as well. When you eat food, the first thing that happens is it goes to the stomach. The stomach needs to be acidic to digest your food. Most people do not have enough stomach acid to digest their food. It's a condition called hypochlorhydria. You should have hydrochloric acid in your stomach to digest your food. So a lot of people, because they don't have enough stomach acid, they're gassy, bloated, irregular. Maybe they're fatigued after they eat because their body just can't digest their food. But sometimes also they're like, well, I have this acid reflux. And so they'll say to their medical doctor, well, I got this acid reflux. So then the MD would give them Tagamet or Prilosec or Tums or whatever the case might be to handle the symptom. But the cause of the symptom is because undigested food is burping up into the soft tissue. So they're taking care of the symptom, not the cause. Now, yes, some people do have too much acid. You want to relax when you eat. When you want to relax, you want to be more into a parasympathetic mode, which means that it's more rest and digest. So you want to be able to breathe a little bit, to get away from any type of stress, and to chew your food so that you'll be able to digest your food properly. It's important to have enough acid in your belly. If you don't have enough acid in your belly, then it's nice down in your throat. Let's put it this way. It's sort of a weird thing to say, but you know, microbes like to go down there because it's nice and warm. Parasites can get down there too. It's nice. It's inviting for a lot of things that you don't want in your gut. And that's why it's important to have a proper acid level there. So, if you have pets and other things, or if you have dirty, you're out in the garden and you touch your lip, or you're reading a book and you touch your lip and there's little eggs on there or something like that, it doesn't get in your system and it doesn't become an issue, it doesn't become an issue for you. So, other, that's one, that's yeah, just from that, you don't want parasites and bugs in you. But here's another reason why the gut's important. 65% of your immune system is in your gut. So if your digestive system's not right, your immune system's compromised. And it's not good to have a compromised immune system for many obvious reasons. I don't have to explain that to you. And it's also known now as your second brain. So your gut has a communication link to your brain. If the gut is not right, then the brain isn't right. So people that have an imbalanced gut can have issues with depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, major issues. There's a barrier also in the brain too, just like there's a barrier in the large intestine to prevent what we call leaky gut. And microbes can get in the brain too when it gets through the system. So so that's another reason why we always start with the gut. I got to get people their nourishment into the system. People are when they come in here, they're injured, and they got to have the chemistry to handle their injury. Otherwise, what happens? I'm seeing them 3 times a week, and they're spinning. I need people to get their system off the standard American platform and to elevate into more of a healthy way, and we could get the job done a lot quicker. A lot of times also like food sensitivities like dairy or nightshades and gluten aspects are pro-inflammatory. A lot of times if you clean up your digestive system, these allergies can sometimes alleviate. Sometimes gluten is, sometimes it can be genetic. Sometimes dairy can be genetic, but if you get the gut right, a lot of the sensitivities can go down, and the histamine reaction, which is pro-inflammatory, can go down, and there's less pain in the system. You want to also protect what's known as your microbiome, and that's a test that we also offer here. So the microbiome is a community of microorganisms, and it has a lot to do with digestion, of your immune system, your metabolic your processing, and your brain health. So this is again where the good bugs, the good bacteria in your system is. So we all need a healthy microbiome, and we get a healthy biome by having a healthy diet. So for a lot of people, it's whole grains, Mediterranean diet, not just a restricted diet, but being able to eat many different types of foods to nourish the body. Exercising helps to have a better microbiome also. If you're under a lot of stress, that can disrupt the microbiome of microorganisms that you need to digest food. Antibiotics, they bombs the area. Antibiotics kill the bad and also kill the good. So whenever you take antibiotics, you always want to do a probiotic. You always want to have an acidophilus product for at least like 2 weeks after the antibiotic, and at least 2 weeks or 2 hours from the antibiotic while you're taking it. So you get again dysbiosis, digestive issues if there's from an imbalance in the microbiome, autoimmune disorders. When a person has like rheumatoid arthritis or a lot of autoimmune deficiencies of diabetes, other things, a lot of times it's a microbiome. Again, starting in the gut is where a lot of things start from as well. mental health, obesity. And these are foods that here you can see too, the kefir or kefir. I got to figure out which how to say that. I always say kefir, maybe it's kefir. Yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, things foods like that, probiotics, miso, kombucha, foods that are, like in the Middle East restaurants, they give you like pickled vegetables, things like that to start. That's a healthy way to start to nourish your microbiome. So, United States has one of the worst soils in the world, and, and that's an issue because when we eat foods, and as we should, and like we say, 75% of our diet should be fruits and vegetables. The quality of fruits and vegetables that we're eating today is just not as good as it used to be. We have one of the worst soils in the world. And soil depletion is because of chemical farming methods, acid rain over farming, and topsoil erosion. But also, what happened after World War II, there was a surplus of chemicals of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And the farmers then discovered that, hey, we could grow food just from using these three chemicals. And they got them cheap. But but there's a wide other range of chemicals that are needed as fertilizer. So the many others, got depleted from the soil. And if the minerals aren't in the soil, they don't get in their, then they're not in the plant, and then we don't get the nutrients that we need to stay well. So, and that's, it's interesting. That's why perhaps, farmers need to throw so much insecticides and herbicides and Roundup on the produce these days because it's weak, because the soil is so weak. And the plant can't defend itself from insect and weed invasion. So they have to spray more on the crops. But maybe that's also why we have to use so much antibiotics, and perhaps we need so much vaccinations for the children today, for babies, because the kids today are born with weaker systems. Maybe that's why kids today have so much cancer, which we're not seeing before, due to the mother's own malnutrition. Oftentimes, like, when pregnant ladies are put on synthetic vitamins that don't have good absorption, they don't have good eating habits, and if they're already malnourished, and then they're taking like junky vitamins, and so it's giving the kids a poor start. And that's where, perhaps that's why the kids today we're seeing, kids are getting sick more. But by the 1930s, most of the cream had been skimmed off of American soils, and crops of mineral deficient vegetables, fruits, and crops of mineral deficient vegetable fruits and grains began to appear. Now, what's interesting with that is that chronic degenerative diseases began to escalate at that time, as well as arthritis, diabetes, cancer, lupus, osteoporosis, and dental cavities all began to skyrocket around the 1930s. Now, all animals get their food directly or indirectly from plants, and all plants get their food from the soil. Therefore, mineral deficient soil may be one of the greatest sources of diseases in the world today. We found that our soil today is 85% depleted of essential minerals like selenium, zinc, iodine, molybdenum, germanium, and many more. Dr. Kavanaugh, he's an MD of Cornell, said there's only one major disease, and that's malnutrition. All ailments and afflictions to which we can get feels are directly traceable to this major disease. So you can take all the labels away, according to this doctor, and it's room for arguments if you want. But his finding says, hey, if we can just clean up the food, then there'd be less disease. Because he says food crops grown on depleted soil produce malnourished bodies, and disease preys on malnourished bodies. So, we can look at the stats. 2 out of 3 Americans die of diseases related to poor diet. According to the American Medical Association, up to 65% of certain cancers can be avoided with improved nutrition. And studies show that up to 95% of people with diabetes can modify their need for insulin through lifestyle changes. You look at this and you wonder how many lives could have been saved and how many people didn't have to suffer if we could have a major shift in maybe the way the MDs are schooled, the way that they're taught, instead of so much drug for this, drug for that, learn this drug. The importance of having their patients eat well. You know, so because of the lack of nutrient density due to demineralization of the soil and the lack of understanding most Americans have about the importance of proper food choices, it's important to take a quality, meaning and absorbable supplements. So food is where it's at. It's always about that. But like I said, we're not getting good food. But we can't imitate Mother Nature. But we got to do the best we can with supplements. So so that's another course in itself, and I don't want to go into too much detail here. So let me give you some basis of what to look for of what is a quality vitamin supplement. Number one, hesitate to buy vitamins in a drugstore. Drugstores are for drugs, not for vitamins. Sometimes you can get quality products there in a drugstore, but you have better chances in a health food store. Why? Well, again, quality is absorbability. Look at the label. Don't buy food, don't buy vitamins without looking at the label. So if you're looking at a vitamin supplement and it's got red number 40 and blue number 4, et cetera, put it down. You don't need that in your body, and there's no basis for it. And right away, it's a telltale sign that that vitamin is not a vitamin that you need to take. If it has sugar in it, like a gummy, a lot of people coming in with gummies these days, and the first thing is sugar or fructose, put it down. It's candy. Okay. Other things to look at: calcium, calcium carbonate. Another sort of a showing of what's a good product. If you see calcium carbonate, calcium carbonate is a source of calcium, but it's hard to absorb. Calcium carbonate's like rock. It's hard to absorb in people's clunky digestive systems. It's cheap. That's why they put it in there, but you're not going to absorb it. If you see anything like oxide, magnesium oxide, or something like that, oxide is metal or rust. It's inorganic. Put it down. And the last thing sort of to look at too is folate. You want to have a good folate into your system. That helps to prevent chronic disease. So if you're seeing if it says folic acid, synthetic, you may not get a good dose of it. If it says folate, that's a little better for you. If it says L5 tetrahydrofolate, if you remember that one, that's even better. That's even better for you. So, there are common themes that contribute to the cause of chronic diseases: cancer, heart disease, diabetes, dementia, and maintaining a focus to eliminate or minimize these issues can support a life without disease. So the body is subjected to what we're subjected to well over 8,500 chemicals per week. And I venture to say it's a lot more than that. And that's from things we can't see. That's from pesticides. That's from air pollution. That's applied to your skin, what you're putting on for cosmetics or deodorant. It gets absorbed into the body. Cigarette smoke, alcohol. Chemistry that you give your body from the food that you choose is used to detoxify and defend you from these poisons. So that's why you eat, and that's why is to help to detoxify you. But there are issues, right? We have poor food choices, we have demineralization, we have suboptimal digestive system, some people are not what I call good detoxifiers. So, so genetically, they may need a little bit support in their kidneys or their liver or something, or or some detox areas to help them. If they don't get what they need, then the heavy metals from the pollution or chemical poison, it can short circuit the body's wellness and can cause chronic disease. Pollutants in the air and water, chemicals, drugs, toxic metals, alcohol, viruses, and bacteria, they stress the body's wellness mode. And if you don't have the chemistry to handle this, if you're not eating well, if you're not taking a quality supplement, then your body can shift into a more inflammation system that we call free radical situation. And throughout the body, and that's a need for antioxidant nutrition, which is what chronic disease is. So inflammation is a common factor of all chronic disease. You always want to keep inflammation down. So what does that mean? So food and supplements that bring down inflammation are important. So I like to say spice is nice. So what does that mean? Foods like garlic and turmeric are helpful, including like Indian and Thai cuisines. It's included in that. And Mediterranean foods, because of the use of good oils or fermented vegetables, healthy meats are also healthy. I also like to say that sugar's the bad boy. Cancer loves sugar, and bacteria loves sugar. So, and it's appalling. Sometimes I have cancer patients. They tell me my oncologist never told me that. It's true. Can't if you have cancer or if you want to stay away from it, you don't eat sugar. And if you're sick or you have a bacteria infection, you keep away from the carbs. You just got to check. You just got to check the label, stack on seeds and nuts, keep that sugar out of the system. Now, studies also show that most Americans, especially in this part of the Midwest, don't get enough vitamin D. And yes, the best source of vitamin D is from the sun. But you think about it, especially as we're just coming out of the winter here, how many times do we go outside, and even in the summertime, we lather our skin with protection because, we want to, there's a certain like balance there too. We don't want to get sun poisoning or skin cancer. But if we don't get enough vitamin D, then we have issues as well. So studies have shown that optimal level of vitamin D can be just as effective as a flu shot for protection from the flu. So when patients say, well, do you think I should get the flu shot? I always leave it up to the patient. I don't tell people what to do. But I say, well, if you have optimal D, like a really high level of D, studies have been shown just as effective. Do what you will. Also, if you don't, there's this condition known as season affect disorder, depression. So a lot of people during the winter or gray months may, have a certain amount of depression. Also, like, osteoporosis if you don't get enough vitamin D, because D is important to get the calcium into the bones. Dementia is also Crohn's disease as well, are contributed by the lack of vitamin D. So the need for more alkaline foods, fresh vegetables and fruits. Fresh is best. The food put on earth to nourish us and keep us healthy. When you eat more of it, there's a less chance of having pain and illness. Another thing I want to talk about as well is omega-3 oils, and this is important as too. So omega-3 oils are healthy oils. Those are oils that are found in cod liver oil, and fish oil, and salmon, and mackerel, cold water fish. And when you eat those fish, you always want to make sure that they're from the ocean, not farmed. Farm doesn't have as much omega-3, and they're not healthy fish. So as much as you can, try to get it like sourced naturally, fresh open seas. Now, as you see here, an optimal ratio is that we should have enough these omega-3 oils. Those type of oils are anti-inflammatory. So that's why we like these fish. And that's why we like also walnuts and other omega-3, whatever we put in our mouths. The issue, though, is that today's age, what's happening is that we have more omega 6s. Omega 6 oils are pro inflammatory. What are omega 6 oils? That's oils that are vegetable oils. That's oils that are in your baked goods, your cookies, margarines, your fried foods, things you bake with, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see the standard American diet, we eat too much of this sex, and we don't eat enough of the fish and other good foods. So there we go. That's why we have more pain and more inflammation and more people coming with body pain because they don't have that ratio. They don't have enough omega-3 oils and they're more pro-inflammatory. Another important aspect of this is that, when we talk about oils, the chemical name of it is EPA DHA. And it's a long 24 letter word for each of those. And I'm not even going to try to say it or spell it or anything like that. Just trust me. EPA oils, so cod liver oil, fish oil is known as EPA DHA, and it's also omega-3 oils. And those are anti-inflammatory. If you don't get enough of it, then you are more prone to this type of issues. You have more itises, inflammation. You're prone to heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancer, autoimmune diseases, and dementias. The other aspect of the DHA components, EPA DHA is mental emotional components of this balance. If a person doesn't have enough DHA, so then their nervous system is not nourished. So then they have cognitive impairments, attention deficit disorder, depression, anxiety, because the brain isn't nourished because of this imbalance. There's too much inflammation because of the sweets, because of the processed foods, and there's this imbalance that's there. It's affecting their mental emotional components. So we do check for this. We check. We have a system called BrainSpan that's available. It's a finger poke. We send it to a lab, and you can see where your balance is. It also gives you a quick idea about how your mental emotional components, and we get a nice report from it. So I sort of want to close this on a recap here on something that people ask me and probably important. So say, Doc, what should I take? What are important supplements that you feel like everybody should take, should be on the kitchen shelf, and that are important? I don't want to have like 24 million things. Where do I start? It's a good question. First thing again, how's your digestive system? Okay. Because if you're going to take a good vitamin and you're not absorbing it, you're wasting your money, sort of. You're eating good for you, but you're not absorbing it. How's that going for you? Okay. So if they're like, I'm trying, and I'm eating this, I'm doing that, okay. Or some people are born with a bad start. Maybe they were nursed as babies. Maybe they didn't have good formula. Maybe they got off to a bad start in their gut, whatever. And those things can happen. So again, digestive enzymes. Okay. What we do here is we'll find the right one for you. If you're gassy, bloaty, burpy, irregular, you're not moving your bowels, that's where you start. Second thing, quality multivitamin mineral, not drugstore brand. Okay. A multivitamin casts a wide net. So I don't have to give you this, that, this, and that. It's in this, it's in that. Okay. So saves you money. We cast that wide net. And then later on, if we see like, okay, because of your genetics or because of certain factors, we have to give you more magnesium or more calcium or whatever the case might be. All right. The same thing, again, omega-3, EPA, DHA, having those good oils because, just not eating a lot of fish. And, the issue too is you can't really eat a lot of fish because sometimes the fish got mercury and stuff in it too. So it's not like you want to eat fish every day. Or, you should probably eat fish maybe about twice a week or something like that. Or maybe 2, 3 times a week, but I won't do it any more than that. Watch out for tuna fish. Tuna fish has got, some omega-3s, not a real lot. Mackerel's got a lot. Anchovies, have a lot, but it's salty. But tuna and some of the other fish high mercury, so you want to watch out. Vitamin C, immune system support, natural antihistamine, and also helps to hold your structure together. Vitamin D, for what we mentioned before, calcium absorption, helps mental emotional seasonal affect disorder, especially during the winter. If you're out in the sun, during the summer, that's up to you. It depends. You have to be the judge of it. If it's sunny outside and you really just don't go outside, you stay in your basement all day, you need vitamin D. So you're the one that needs to look. You're the one that needs to look at this. Okay. That's our sum up. So I'm going to take a quick drink of water, though. I don't know if I need, I'm really flying. So you can take a drink of water, have a snack. Let's go right into, our next where we want to get to tonight is mental emotional aspects of health. And also my takeaways, which basically wants to sum up the three webinars that we've been doing. Okay. All right. So, let's talk about now the third aspect of health, the mental emotional components. You know, Too often it's the least assessed or objectively considered unless you're a mental health provider. But suffice it to say that all three aspects are considered important to your health. So, for example, let me give you an example. I've had occasions where a patient will come in and they'll say, they'll make an appointment. They just got to get in. I'm like, okay. And they come in and they're like 10 on a 10 scale. They got shooting pain down their leg. They're antalgic. They're like holding their back. And I'm like, okay, why are you waiting? And then they say to me, oh, and I'm leaving for France like tomorrow or 2 days, you know? And I'm like thinking, oh man, how are they gonna make it to a vacation overseas? And I'm like, ooh, okay. So of course, I do the best I can and, work on them. I reinforce the do's and don'ts, how to pack, how to lift their suitcases, how to sit on the plane. And then when the patient returns after the vacation to continue the care, I would okay, cautiously, I would ask them, okay, all right, how'd you do? And they would say, oh, really good. And I'd be like, really? And this patient was in so much discomfort, packed suitcases, sat on the plane, and did good. And did good. I said, wow, the power of mental emotional aspect of vacation, something planned for months. Nothing was going to stand in the way for this person. So the mind is a very powerful tool, but most of us are not aware of how to use it even close to its fullest extent. It's said that we only really use 10% of our brains. False beliefs, trapped emotions acquired early in life or created over a lifetime can greatly impact your health. For some, illness began as an emotional imbalance. How you thinketh, so you are, and what you focus on expands. So you are what you believe. Positive emotions have been shown to promote healing and happiness, while negative emotions disrupt health in various ways by lowering the pain threshold. Laughter is the best medicine. It truly is because when you laugh, it stimulates the body's immune system gets stimulated. And when you're anxious and depressed, it's diminished. And that's research. Healthy people are healthier people, while emotions such as unprocessed grief, anxiety, anger affect the body more than people realize, often doing so on an unconscious level. Negative emotions can generate fuel functional disturbances of every sort. So when people have emotional issues, sometimes they have digestive issues. Some people, they get constipated. For some people, they have diarrhea. For some people, they have heartburn and nausea. It's often attributed to mental emotional stress because a person does not currently have the mental emotional resources to handle that stress. Mental emotional stress also can suck up the mineral magnesium that we get primarily from green leafy vegetables. which people don't eat enough of. Again, a common source of structural low back spasm is lack of magnesium. So you combine, don't go away. So you combine, sorry. Okay. So you combine stress with a poor standard American diet, and voila, you get back spasms. Also, like bruxing or grinding your teeth, holding tension in your jaw, tight shoulders are common structural components of mental emotional stress. And my teacher, Dr. Goodhart, coined the term emotional backache as he commonly found a sacroiliac sprain as a cause of back pain when people were under stress. So when you're under stress, set the intention to keep moving. Go to the gym, exercise, take a nice walk outdoors, find a nature trail to explore, some flowers to smell, and a sunset to enjoy. If ongoing emotional stress can deplete your body of vitamin C. It's noted for its role in immune support and as well as your structural integrity. Ongoing stress also depletes your adrenal glands, your stress glands, which is also important for immune health as well. Then you're more prone to get sick when you have stress that you can't handle for long periods of time. That stress is sucking up the vitamin C, it's stressing your adrenal glands. And we've got to get those adrenal glands strong so you get over the hump and get over the illness. Stress can deplete your body of magnesium. Magnesium, again, found in green leafy vegetables, not a staple part of a standard American diet. That person can then be more apt to experience low back spasms. Magnesium is also crucial it's a relaxer type of nutrient. So if you don't have enough magnesium, the blood pressure goes up. B complex vitamins are also known as the anti-stress vitamins for good reason. B complex vitamins has been shown to be depleted when there's ongoing mental emotional stress. The stressed person taking a B complex would notice more endurance, more stamina, more vitality with the supplement. So if you're having a lot of stress, it's good to take a B complex vitamin. But if you have continual mental emotional stress that's going on, it could result in chronic illness because of the depletion of nutrients, not to mention including depression, anxiety itself. And the body, may need additional support if the stress remains long term. So herbs like rhodiola and cordyceps are help to reset the adrenal glands. Ginseng or licorice are helpful too, but be careful if you take ginseng. It'll give you more fuel, or licorice as well, because if it could raise your blood pressure. So if you have blood pressure issue, you want to be careful with that. St. John's wort is good for depression symptoms, but if you're already on meds, you want to watch out for that too, and check the med to make sure it's okay for you to be able to take that. So there may be a tendency to eat unhealthy comfort foods. You have maybe a tendency to self-medicate with alcohol or eat sweets. So you want to notice this tendency and really try to stay on the middle ground, simply because it's self-defeating. Your body needs to have the chemistry from smart food choices to stay well and healthy. It needs whole fresh foods, not processed chemical foods. It needs that chemistry now more than ever to support healthy brain function and to keep your immune system up so you don't get sick. And notice also how your mind is reacting to the stress. Can you find a way to use that energy to motivate you rather than to knock you down? Don't let your mind get the best of you. Notice the emotions, but don't let them control you. So this is and hopefully you can see this. I do have copies of this in my office. I've done about 3 workshops with Anthony or Tony Robbins, who's a life coach, and this was in one of his workbooks, and I really like this. It helps us to reshape problems that we all get to helps us to start our day in a good way, and helps us to end a day in a good way. So look at this. So if you have a problem, what is great about this problem? Keep in mind, like what John Lennon said, there are no problems, only solutions. Okay, right. So what is great about this problem? What is not perfect yet? What am I willing to do to make it the way I want it? What am I willing to no longer do in order to make it the way I want it? And how can I enjoy the process while I do what is necessary to make it the way I want it? Helps to reshape because sometimes we have problems and stress. It's like, right? So, okay, you can breathe, which we'll talk about it next, and in focus on what you can do as a solution to focus on that rather than the problems. How about starting the day this way? What am I happy about in my life right now? What about that makes me happy? How does that make me feel? What am I excited about in my life now? What about that makes me excited? How does that make me feel? So all these questions it drives it deeper into the system, into your body, because when you feel something, it goes deeper inside of you. So in the evening, what have I given today? In what ways have I been a giver today? What did I learn today? How has today added to the quality of my life? Or how can I use today as an investment in my future? Good stuff. I used to hang this on my bathroom mirror. I have copies of this if y'all want, if you all agree with me too. Oops. All right. Andrew Weil um, he's a holistic doctor, and he is well known for what's known as his 478 breathing technique. And it's online. You can Google this as well. It involves inhaling for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 7 seconds, and exhaling for 8 seconds. So, what he found with this is it promotes more parasympathetic. So, it helps the body relax. So, you're not like running from that saber-toothed tiger. You want to go to sleep, you got to relax. How can you get your body shift gears? You can start doing this technique. You can sit up and do it. Or you can lay in bed and just remember how to do this. It'll help to reduce stress and anxiety. It'll improve your sleep quality and calm your nervous system. Dr. Carl Simonton did some research, and he found that positive imagery helped his cancer patients live an average of 12 months longer. So, seeing yourself healthy and well, seeing those cancer cells shrink, seeing your blood sugar, A1C, going down, seeing yourself healthy and well. If you do this intensively in his work, he's noticed that it helped patients to live longer. It's certainly helpful. Bernie Siegel wrote a book a long time ago, maybe, well, sort of a long time ago, called Love, Medicine, and Miracles, I believe. He estimates that 80% of his cancer patients were unwanted or treated indifferently as children. And he found that even lab rats separated from their mother became more susceptible to cancer. Rats frequently petted were less susceptible. So what Bernie says is that if I could teach you how to feel good about your life, love yourself and others, and achieve peace of mind, the necessary changes can occur. And then there's Norman Cousins. Norman Cousins wrote a book. You should check it out. It's called Anatomy of an Illness. He is an American journalist, worked for like Saturday Evening Post, I believe. And he became down with a painful condition called ankylosing spondylitis. And he was told that he had one chance in 500 to recover. That's so great odds. But went to the hospital and they tried their treatment. It didn't go so well. Wasn't getting any better. He said to his medical doctor, he had a good relationship with him. He said, Doc, this is some research. I'll show it to you. And, this is what I found that will help you. He goes, and what I want to do is I want to take liberal doses of vitamin C, and I want to watch Marx Brothers films and reruns of Candid Camera every day. So what he wanted to do was he wanted to take a lot of vitamin C, and he wanted to laugh all day. So what he did is he decorated his hotel, his hospital room with balloons and just made it happy. And he laughed and he belly laughed all day. And it's actually a made for TV movie. And at the end of the movie, it shows him throwing his crutches into the Pacific Ocean and walking away. But he did get well. And it's groundbreaking because it showed that life-threatening illnesses can be combated through humor and patient participation in care. So we don't have to just lay back and say, okay, drug me, do your thing. But when a patient is participating more in their care, it can be helpful, as can be laughter. So it started the spark of people taking a current interest in taking care of their own health when they started reading this. So the doctor's genius was in helping his patient to use his own powers, laughter, courage, tenacity. And the patient's talent was in mobilizing his body's own natural resources, proving what an effective healing tool that the mind can be. Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich, and that's another well-known book that in the early days. And he said that thoughts are things, powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definitiveness, purpose, persistence, and a burning desire, you can grab it, and it can apply to your health as well as your pocketbook. Louise Hay wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life. And she's a motivational speaker and an author. And her teaching centered the idea that a person's thoughts have the power to determine their life. Hay believed that people's ideas and beliefs about themselves are often the cause of physical and emotional problems. So she put her own philosophies into action. She was diagnosed with cancer. She considered the alternatives to surgery and drugs and instead developed intensive programs of affirmations, visualization, nutritional cleansing, psychotherapy. And in 6 months, she was completely healed of cancer. An affirmation is really anything you say or think. And a lot of what we normally say and think is negative and doesn't create good experiences for us. We have to retrain our thinking and speaking into positive patterns if we want to change our lives and we want to stay healthy. The law of attraction claims that positive thoughts and actions reap positive rewards and vice versa for negative ones. This is from Rhonda Byrne's book known as The Secret, and it was a movie as well. And at the core of this philosophy is positivity. Simplified suggests that like attracts like, meaning positive thoughts and actions lead to positive results, and vice versa. So the core concept is that attract what you focus on, believe, and expect. So it's sort of like thoughts are things. They're like magnets. So and so we want to attract like attracts like. So you don't want to focus on how little you have. You always want to focus on how you are. So one of the things what patients will say to me, I ask patients how they are, and they'll say to me, not bad. And I say to them, okay, it's pretty good then. I say, yeah, pretty good then. Okay. So what's happening here? Patient is focusing on bad. They're focusing on their ground of being of like negative. Why do that? Not every day is a wonderful day. I understand. I got it. Me too. But you can always say, I'm okay, if that's truly what it is, which is sort of like blah. But if that's truth, that's the truth. Or you could say, pretty good. So your thoughts and beliefs shape your reality. So focusing what you desire and believing in its possibility is crucial. What you expect to happen and the actions you take in alignment. So you have to work with this. You got to expect this and the actions, what your desires. It plays a significant role in manifesting your in manufacturing your goals and in your health. So how you think is, so you are. What you focus on expands. Thoughts are things. Identify your desire to stay healthy or for whatever else, and continue to give it attention. Talk about it, write about it, put it on your calendar. I'm in the process of whatever the case might be. I'm doing this. The law of attraction responds to how you feel about what you say. That's where the word feeling comes into play. And feel about what you think. Stop observing what you're not attracting. So don't keep, try not to observe like, my health isn't good. I've got this disease. I've got that disease. I've got, try not to focus too much on that. Focus on how much better you might be. Always tell the truth, though. But don't focus on scarcity. Focus on abundance. Stop giving the negativity your attention, energy, and focus. So, words are causing you to attract what you don't want. So, don't say, don't panic, because when you say don't panic, you're focusing on panic. So what do you want? Well, stay calm. Don't forget. Don't say don't forget. Say remember to. Don't be late because then you focus on late. See you on time. What do I want? I don't want this to hurt. I'll be fine. So what do I want? That's what you want to focus. That's what you want to focus on. So fun thing to do as we sort of close out this part of our talk is to begin each day with an exercise in gratitude. Make a conscious effort to try it, even for one day, and just notice how your day evolves. Now, each day is sort of like that movie Groundhog Day for us. Over and over, we do the same thing. And I encourage you to break that pattern, be becoming more mindful and more aware of your life and everything around you. So be grateful. So wake up in the morning, be grateful. Be grateful for the shoes and socks that keep, be silly about it. Shoes and socks to keep your feet warm. The toothbrush to brush your teeth and keep your teeth clean. The car that drives you to work, and the tires that keep you rolling there. The food that you're eating to nourish your body. I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the roof over your head, the dollar bill in your pocket. Because when you're grateful for what you have, more will come into your life. It's a good way to start. It's sort of fun too, because you start nitpicking little things. I'm grateful for the whatever, sort of fun. But the serious part of it is, again, when you're grateful for what you have, more will come into your life. And as the day unfolds, have your intentions of how you want the day to be clear in your life. So when the spokes aren't balanced, except away. So you can think of your body, sort of as a big wheel. You have to give your body these things to stay well and healthy. You got to take care of it. You have to take care of your structure. Body work, chiropractic, it's your spine, your nervous system, massage work, body work, stretching, exercising, digestion, good food, proper supplementation, exercise, drinking enough water, important between meals, getting your rest, 6 to 7 hours a night, checking on your mental, emotional well-being, trying to work with that, getting help with that if you need to. These are things that you are responsible for if you want to stay healthy. And when the spokes aren't in balance, the wheel doesn't roll very well. It takes commitment. We don't live in a healthy world. Life is stressful. And it's not just stressful mentally and emotionally, it's stressful to our physical bodies, it's stressful to their chemical bodies. And if we don't give the body what it needs, then the body just doesn't do what it does best to keep you well and healthy. All right. Thank you for everyone for staying with me tonight. We're going to go into my takeaways now. We're going to summarize everything. All right. Thanks for hanging in there. I appreciate everybody doing so. I know we're taking some time. I hope it's good stuff for you. All right. So, okay. So the body's made to be healthy, well, and vibrant, but we live in what can be a stressful life. And over the years, that stress to the body can take its toll, challenges the body's homeostatic, natural healing ability to stay well. We live in a society where Americans take on the average 6 different drugs a day. They don't, not addressing the symptom or not addressing the cause, but the symptom. And every drug has a side effect, and too often another drug is prescribed just to address the side effect of the others. And the medicine oftentimes sucks up the nutrients that the body needs to get well. Maybe the reason why the person has that issue in the first place. Also, pharmaceutical meds are the fourth leading cause of death in this country. The symptom-based approach, a pill for this, a pill for that, ignoring, a pill for that, a pill for that, is treating the disease that has the body rather than the body that has the disease. So when you're giving a med, you're taking care of you're turning off the fire alarm. The fire still burns. The reason why a person has this issue, it could, whatever the case might be, is still in the system. And you just they're on drugs, so they're sort of making them better. And rather, in a holistic approach, what we want to do is we want to treat the body that has the disease rather than the disease that has the body. We want to treat the body. We want to give the body what it needs to be better. In essence, what we have in this country is that we have sick care, not health care, and that we're in the mid 30s among industrial nations in being healthy. Number one in emergency care, but we're not very healthy, as a society. You should be grateful that if you're symptom free, but you got to be careful. This is the hook that we go, I feel good, therefore I'm healthy. I don't need to worry about things. I can go eat my burgers. I don't need to take my vitamins. I don't need to see Dr. Terebelo. I'm feeling pretty good. It's good. Sometimes you are pretty good. You come in here, I don't find anything. Most of the times I don't charge you. But we want to maintain we want to maintain a healthy system. So we got to be clear. When symptoms are a way of a sign of body dysfunction, not the sign. So it's the sign of body dysfunction if you touch a hot stove. You want that. You want to move your hand. Ouch. You don't want to sit there. You want to move your hand. Bang your hand with a hammer. It's a sign of body dysfunction, right? But the chronic diseases today, and most of the issues today, they build, they build, they build. They don't come just like that. So it's important to realize, given the epidemic that we have in this country, that grateful that we're feeling good. But boy, we live in an unhealthy world, and we've got to continue to be proactive to preserve your most important asset, which is your health. The Beatles said, "You can't buy me love. You can't buy your health. You can't buy your health either." So you have to give your body the resource it needs to handle the stress, or you get sick. You fall into a disease. The body's made to be healthy, well, and vibrant, and it's balanced. And if you're imbalanced in one, two, or all three of those, structure, chemical, or mental, because of that stress, then the body in time will produce a symptom that will say, hey, That's your fire alarm that something is wrong. And we want to avoid, getting into that area. So, so motion is lotion. Let me see what my slides are here. So motion is lotion. You want to keep moving. So it's really important, to when you get up in the morning to stretch and to stretch. You're 6, 7 hours in bed. You're not usually moving too much, especially in the wintertime, to jump out of bed, run into your car, run to work, sit all day, or to do whatever you do in a physical way. When you have cold muscles, you're asking for trouble. Get on the floor. If you can't get on the floor, stay on your bed. Do some very basic stretches just to come back into your body. Do some breathing so you wake up, your brain wakes up, your brain gets in tune to your body. Do some knee chest stretches, some pelvic tilts, maybe some planks. Just, stretch, exercise, arm over the head, whatever you need to do. But you need to exercise. The best exercise is walking. High impact intensive training is also can be effective for people that are able to. But if you're older like me, you know, or if you're not able to do that, take a nice walk. That's the best thing. But again, stretching every day and getting spinal checkups too, because your spine's your nervous system. Nervous system powers your body. Those vertebrae of your spine can move out of position very easily. You slouch on the couch, you lift something improperly. You don't always feel like an ouch right away. That's why people get into car accidents and I feel okay. And the next day, next week, all of a sudden it's like, wow, I didn't have this back pain before. I didn't have this before. Symptoms sometimes are not the indicator that something's wrong. It takes time, they build. Inflammation builds. So you can't always judge how you are. That's why it's important to have your spine checked so we can keep the pain away and keep your spine moving so that we can help you prevent our arthritis also, because if those bones are out of position, then it becomes more wear and tear in the area. And more wear and tear means more arthritis. So pay attention to your digestive system. Just the purpose of eating to nourish the body, give it the chemistry it needs to do what it does best. You need to look and see how you're nourishing your body. What are you eating today? You got to balance, you adjust your diet accordingly. Balance your proteins and carbs. Don't get into a carbs. Carbs are, sugar's addicting. Carbs are addicting. It's like this we say sometimes a comfort food because sugar, creates more dopamine reaction in the brain. It's a feel-good thing. But in the same token, like we've said, sugar is the number one bad boy for chronic diseases. So you always want to minimize the carbs in the sugar. So watch that. You want to snack on proteins, and sometimes meats, things like that. Make sure you're eating your vegetables. So, try to get 75% of your diet fruits and vegetables, but at least just have a vegetable with each meal, either lightly steamed, raw, frozen. Those are the top three. Try to get less carbs, as much organic, as you can, and your basic supplements that you take with the good mindful eating of your omega-3, your vitamin D, and your vitamin C. So, the mental emotional components. How are you thinking? Sometimes it's hard to check and stare upstairs, Just stop yourself sometimes and go, I'm thinking negative. Wow. I'm grouchy today. I'm thinking like, what a lousy day this is. It's gloomy outside. It's not a good way to start the day. It might be gray outside, but how is it in you? So, and that influences you. That creates your health. So how you think is so you are, and what you focus on expands. How you thinking? How do you start your day? How do you see yourself? And how does your health rule your world? So all you have to do is look around you to notice, so many people are struggling to get pain-free and healthy. Pharmaceutical companies making a mint. Many are discouraged, had experiences with the medical approach, and searching for another alternative. And that's one reason why holistic approaches become more mainstream. When I started this work 44 years ago, it was a little bit challenging to talk to people about vitamins and good eating properly. Now it's more mainstream. So that's good. But sadly, still the medical approach, the primary avenue of healthcare in this country, does not fully emphasize the importance of what we know as a triad of health. That you taking responsibility for the care of your physical body through exercise, stretching, therapeutic care like chiropractic and massage techniques, and you taking responsibility for your digestive system, your food choices you're making that can be a determinant factor of how you feel and think, and you taking responsibility for healthy mental emotional aspects through therapy, through books or seminars. There's too much emphasis on symptoms. We see that all the time. Turn on TV, this drug, that drug. You go to movie theaters these days. It's in the movie theaters also. We're brainwashed into thinking just a drug for this and a drug for that approach. Too much emphasis on the symptoms. You always want to work toward what more you can do to promote your health in this generally the stressful environment that the body lives in. And you can never do too much. If we were born with an owner's manual, well, that'd be different. And we do have, even if you have genetic tendencies, you can still circumvent that. And we do offer genetic testing as well, so you can see where your strengths and weaknesses in your body is, which is a basic cheek swab. We send it to a lab, and you see if, like, am I a good detoxifier? Am I good with inflammation? Where do I have markers for dementia or Alzheimer's? Where am I at? So we have that. We have that for you. So, the value of applied kinesiology is that it gives me an access to monitor your system. So changes, if I see changes along the way, we can address it through, we see weaknesses that come up. We can help you to pave the road. Things change. We're energetic beings. So a person may start on like a one vitamin, multivitamin. We may end up shifting into another vitamin or, things like that because we don't stay the same. Every day is different. We're energetic beings. So with kinesiology, it allows me to match products to people so I can help to keep you, on the road to good health. So I want to thank you really for participating in what I feel is an important class on explaining the holistic approach to health. Maybe so I can turn off. I'm afraid to touch this thing. Okay. All right. I'm not going to. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. Okay. I'm just gonna. We'll keep the thank you on. Okay. I want to thank you for participating in what I feel is an important class on explaining the holistic approach to health. And I really hope that you have learned a lot, and I hope you learned something. And really, I hope that you've learned a lot. And it really, it's my wish that you've learned something that'll make a difference in your life and you better understand the work that's being done here with you as a patient that will help you to get better results. And this really, this work is meant to be shared. People learn about holistic health via word of mouth and sharing what you've experienced. We don't have pharmaceutical companies and drug advertisements. We can't afford that. But it comes from experience, and that's how we grow. There's so many people out there that are hurting. And I venture to say that you know a few. So do a good deed and support them to watch this presentation as well. So about a week or so, I'm going to send you an email, and we've recorded this tonight. I certainly hope I have. Okay. And I want to thank Lori for supporting me and getting this going. And again, thanking you for your patience. So we've recorded this, God willing. And it'll be available on our website, as well as the first one that we did as well. And um, when you come into the office, I'm going to give you, if you want to do this, I'm going to give you a simple quiz, just so I know that you're paying attention, that you're not in the kitchen scrubbing away, getting ready for the holidays or something like that. When you pass my quiz, it's very difficult. I'm going to give you a Carol Buck. So you get $10 off of your next treatment. And I'm going to give you another one that you can give to your referral, to someone that you know that can benefit from this care. You have to get all the questions right, though. Okay. All right. So I want to thank you again for joining me for this presentation, and the opportunity, and the responsibility of being on your healthcare team. I do appreciate it. Really what drives me is knowing you. I love all my patients that are out there. And I love the work that I do. And I just really feel it's really important. And the gratitude that I receive back is certainly, gratifying to me. So thank you. And I wish you all a good night. Thank you for being here tonight.